Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do some bright and colorful neon nails using some pigment powders, and then I'm going to carve a 3D flower at the end for one of the nails. So I've already painted a white base on 4 of my nails. The black nail is the one that I'm going to carve the 3D flower on. I kind of have an idea of how I want that 3D flower to look, so I did a black base for that one. I'm going to go ahead and use my pressed pigments, and I'm going to go in and just make like a gradient effect. I'm going in with my first color. I'm going to do it on the bottom of each of them. I'm just kind of pressing the color in more than I'm rubbing. So I just press, get all that color packed on that nail. I did cure the second layer of my white for only 30 seconds just because I wanted it a little bit more stickier so it'll hold that pigment and create like a really nice color. So you can see here that I'm going in with my second color, so I'm doing pink now. And what I'll do is I'll kind of flip that brush over after I pack my pink on, and I'm just kind of rubbing it in. That way it kind of blends the two colors together. I'm making sure that I'm using two colors that go together. That way it doesn't create like a muddy appearance. This is a very trust the process kind of issue because you really want to make sure that the color's packed on there and trust that it's gonna look different once we put that top coat on. So I'm just packing the color on, just pressing it in. I did try to do this with a brush and I did not like the effect it was giving. Maybe I was just using the wrong brush. I'm going to do a little bit more research on this. This is the first time that I've attempted to do this using these powders. I did play around with it a little bit to kind of see what worked and what didn't. I started with a brush and I didn't like how it was turning out, so I switched over to using these little, I forget what they're called, the little eyeshadow brush things, and it tended to work better for me. I was able to really pack that color in. Again, I'm just like pressing and I'm making sure that again we're all around the edges, and then I just flip it over to kind of blend the two colors together. So now I'm going in with a deeper pink that's going to allow me to transfer into the purple that I'm going to use on the tips. I'm being very generous with the amount of product that I use on the applicator. I'm not really experiencing a lot of fallout on the nails, but all the colors kind of go together, so a little bit of fallout really isn't going to affect the design too much. And any excess that's there, I'm going to brush away with the brush anyway before I apply my base coat to it. So now that I've applied all my colors, now I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to work on blending and fading them together a little bit more, adding more product to any spots that seem like they need a little bit more, double checking the sides to make sure I didn't miss any spots. Again, because I'm using a white base, you don't want that white to be standing out anywhere. So I just want to make sure that I don't miss any of those spots. And now I'm applying a base coat to the nails. This is gonna lock that color in so I can draw my flowers on. I did decide, and you'll see here in a minute, I did decide that I wanted to use a matte top coat instead of painting over the base coat, just because if I make any mistakes, to me it's easier, especially when I'm doing nail art, it's easier for me to wipe off with alcohol if it's on a matte top coat versus anything sticky like a base coat. And I didn't want to use top coat. To me, it's too slippery, and sometimes it causes the design to kind of like bleed or fade. It's a little bit harder to work with. So it's all just personal preference. It's what I like to do, what works for me. Like I said, I did change my mind. I was like, no, I'm gonna go in with my matte top coat instead of the base coat. So that's what I'm applying here. So now that I have my matte top coat on, now I'm going to go in with this white liner gel and I'm going to create the Hawaiian style flowers. So I went ahead and put a little bit of acetone to kind of clean my brush off. I'm going to be using an 11mm liner brush and a dotting tool. I'm using the smaller dotting tool. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 3 dots that are together. And I'm going to go around and kind of like a circle with those 3 dots. And that's going to create the petals to my flower. This took me a couple of tries to get it perfect and figure out the spacing. But once I got the hang of it, it was pretty easy. Not too hard to do. So just 3 dots. And then we're going to take the liner brush and connect and make the petals. So now I have my liner brush and I'm just drawing 2 lines on the outside, leaving a little bit of space in between just to kind of create that outline of the flower. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the lines on the inside and then connect them all together. So I'm just drawing the lines on the inside, and then I'm going to draw a stem that comes out, and I'm going to put dots on the stem just to give it that design and kind of connect everything together. Before I top coat, I actually go back in and add a few more dots to it just to give it a little extra. So I'm going to repeat the same process, drawing these flowers. So this one is complete, and now I'm going to go and I'm going to draw one more flower on this nail. And you can see with the flowers and the pigments, it just brings everything together. It looks so nice, so pretty. So between each nail that I do, I like to cure it. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but it is wise to cure between each one of the flowers. That way, if you make any mistakes, you can wipe it off, or accidents do happen and you might accidentally bump or touch your design. And once you get it perfected, you don't really want to mess it up. So I do cure in between each nail. That way I don't make any mistakes, or in case, I mess it up. I did mess up a couple of them and have to wipe it off and do it all over again. So here I'm creating another flower. All the nails are going to be different. They're not going to be the same. Really, this set, I was just practicing. I really wanted to learn this technique. I love these Hawaiian flowers. I love the gradient neon colors, the bright summertime colors. They're just so pretty to me. And I've always wanted to learn this technique. And so this is why I chose this design. So for this now, I decided that I wanted to do a half flower instead of doing a full one that covers the nail. This one's going to be one that's like kind of on the side of the nail. I just wanted to see how it looked. And like I said, this set, I didn't want all of the flowers to be exactly the same on every nail. I wanted the pattern and design to be a little bit different on each of them. So I just draw my 3 dots and I start in the middle of the nail and then draw the 2 on the side. And it's the same concept. You're just doing obviously less petals. And then I draw my little stem off to the side. And again for this nail, I'm doing the same thing, just a half flower on the side. And now I'm just going in and I'm kind of completing the design on these 2 nails. Just drawing some lines with some more dots just to add a little bit more design to it. I really liked how this turned out. It is so pretty. Right now, it looks good now, but once I put that top coat on it, it's really gonna make those flowers pop. So now I'm just gonna draw the little lines on there, and then I take my dotting tool, and at this point I decided that it needed a little bit more, so I started adding my dots, and then I went in on the other nails that I'd already done and just kind of added a few more just to give it a little bit more white. Looking back at this, I think I should have done the middle nail, the one that I'm going to put the flower, the 3D flower on. I should have done that in white as well as a base, or maybe I should have done the flowers in black. But nonetheless, I think it turned out really pretty. It looked really good and it was great for a practice set. Okay, so now I have my solid building gel and I mixed white and clear together to kind of give it like this like milky white kind of color. And I just took a little bit out, and this took practice, practice, practice. And it still wasn't as perfect as I liked, but it still turned out nice. So basically I just roll out a long strip, and I want to make sure that all of the little beads are close to the same size, and that's really important. So this is what took me a couple of tries. I wanted to make sure, because if they're not consistently the same size, it ends up looking kind of funny. It doesn't look right. So and just roll it out, and I use the back end of my polygel brush to kind of cut them, and then make out all of my beads. And then once they're all made, then I'll apply them to the nail. The first time I tried this, I was just scooping out and just kind of like going at it with really just no plan, and it was disastrous. So I found that this technique works better for me. I'm just using the cap of that building gel to roll it out on, kind of like using it as a palette just to make my beads and make sure that they're all the same size. And then once I have them all made, you'll need 5 of them. Then I'm just going to apply them. I'm going to use the flat end of my silicone tool and just put a line in the middle on both sides and just form out my petal. So this is where imagination is like very important. You have to be able to see the flower even though it's not technically a flower. Sorry, I got a little bit out of frame right here. I was really deep in concentration trying to perfect this flower. And you just have to manipulate it and turn it into a petal. And I'm just going to repeat the process. I'm sure as I do these over and over again, I'll get faster and more perfect with them. This is only the second time that I've attempted at the 3D flowers, so I'm still learning. They definitely look easier to make than what they are to make. But I really liked the way that this flower came out, and I thought I recorded me painting over it, but somehow or another it got deleted or it didn't record. So basically what I did after I cured this for 60 seconds, I took hot pink and lined just the edges of the petal, and I cured it for 60 seconds, and then I put some base coat in the center of the flower, and then I used my same tool for the pressed pigments, and I pressed a little bit of powder in the center of the flower, and then I applied a top coat, and it was so beautiful the way it turned out. I have the video of how the nails looked after they were done. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to record me actually painting it. I still wanted to post this video though, because one of the most important parts is the actual application process. You can see how tedious it is. I'm a perfectionist. I'm trying to get every single petal exactly the same or very similar, and it's very difficult to do. Thankfully, you know, if it's not perfect, you can wipe it off and try it again. And honestly, once I applied that liner to the edges of these petals and put that color in the center and put the beads in the center, it just turned out so pretty. And against the black, it really made it pop. So I really enjoyed baking this set. I cannot wait to make some more 3D art and play more with the 3D flowers and the 3D art. So yeah, so here's the nail set. Excuse my cuticles, I know they're a little bit of a mess, but this is the nail set after it was finished. Super pretty. I love the way they turned out. All right, well, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you next time.